right, welcome. And we appreciate everybody joining to review several new capabilities that we have related to our Guidewire Cloud Platform. So first, for Safe Harbor, we're going to be talking about several new things related to the product, some forward-looking statements around capabilities, particularly in the Q&A, that may not yet be available. This is just to explain that we're able to change our direction as appropriate at our own discretion. All right, so our speakers. So first, myself, I'm a product manager leading our application services team. And I'm joined today by several thought leaders to cover a bunch of these new great capabilities we're going to talk about today. Avinash Jha, who works for the InsuranceSuite platform, leading product management. Piotr Flazinski, who plays a key role in our Guidewire Cloud Console capabilities. And Prem Belakonda, who is responsible for our monitoring and observability capability. You'll hear him talk quite a bit about Datadog. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to give just a brief context, and then we're going to go ahead and have Avinash and the team go through the different topics. We're going to go through a lot of topics today, so there's a lot of material. So you'll have to strap in and pay close attention as we go through. We'll cover data masking, data archiving, our advanced search with Solr, our blue-green production deployments for continuous availability, self-service production deployments, and observability through Datadog. Now, there's a common thread that runs throughout all of these, which is really related to DevOps and the setup and deployment of the environments within the Guidewire Cloud Platform, which are streamlined by the capabilities that we provide on cloud so that you don't have to implement these yourselves, whereas you otherwise would have in a self-managed environment, as well as several new capabilities around self-service that allow a DevOps professional to be able to set up and configure these systems within the Guidewire Cloud Console so that they're optimized for your operation. After we go through this, we'll go ahead and go through the Q&A. During the session, the session is actually activated for the live Q&A in the app. So you can download the Guidewire app, go into the details for this session, and enter in your questions, which I'll be moderating then at the end. But we'll also have the opportunity to do Q&A through microphones with runners at the end. So if you want to, you can hold your questions until then. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn this over to Avinash.
Thank you, Chris. If you have the opportunity this morning to see our keynote speech, you might have seen that as our Chief Product Development Officer, Diego, mentioned, our cloud platform is imperative on three standard rules: standardization, automation, and self-service. And today, with all the capabilities, you will see this common theme across to give you the agility and speed in the cloud without exposing the complexity of IT to you. So first, data masking. Guidewire Cloud customers heavily rely on sanitized copy of data, production data, for their various use cases. Whether you are using production data for functional testing, impact testing, simulations, production debugging, you may need a copy of data on demand in the non-production environment. We have tried to solve for that use case. Of course, because we are dealing with the production data, it was imperative that we had to be careful with the security. So we have built a solution where your data is never exposed outside of your production data unless it is masked. No third party gets the access to the data. All the ports are closed for the masking engine. And of course, there is a role-based access within your organization, so people will only access what they are supposed to access. Configurability is a critical factor for our customers. On top of Guidewire out-of-the-box product, you customize our data models. We understand your business cases for masking is different for each customer. So when we are building this, we are careful to give you the flexibility with the configuration so you can pick and choose how you want to mask data, which algorithms you want to pick, and what field and column you want to mask. Third, data integrity. For use cases, whether you are doing production debugging or test data management, the functional substitute of the data is critical, and we have been careful to maintain that functional substitute of the data. Also, the data integrity across the Guidewire applications in the cloud. And last but not the least, the self-service. We are exposing this solution to you through the user interface, where you'll be able to manage the data, get the data, configure it, and run it just in time for your use cases. A quick view of the self-service capability. As you can see on the screen, it is made available through the Guidewire Cloud Console, or GCC. To run the masking, you can run at any time using the masking here. You can see who has run or how many times the data was run. So it's possible somebody has run that data masking a day before yesterday or yesterday. You don't need to go through that whole process again. You can just use the last backup of masked data for your use case. You can see the progress, errors, and you can triage yourself. Configurability. Based on your user level access, you will be able to pick and choose at field level on how you want to mask the data. Not only the field, but you have the flexibility to pick and choose the algorithms. Either you pick the algorithms that we have out of the box, or you can import or export your own custom algorithms. For the common types of data like address, name, you can also group them together under the domain to give you more agility on dealing with the data. Last, once the data is masked, it is backed up and available to restore under the backup and restore. So masked data can be restored into any NP any number of times. Roadmap. With the Flint release, we have released the early access earlier last month. We are working with early adopter customer. Just on Friday, I released the more stable version after getting the feedbacks. In the next few months, we will be working with few more early adopters, getting the feedbacks, and also building a solution that is scalable, making it easier to consume, configure, and test without the load of production data, of course, and targeting to do the general availability release in garbage time. The future, we realize right now the data is whole production data that we are copying, and that takes several hours. We want to be in a position where you can get the data in minutes and the data that you need. If you need only 50 policies, 100 claims, we don't want you to copy the whole production data. So that is the future. It will take some time for us to go there, but that's the goal we are shooting for, to get you the data you need within minutes, sanitized copy, while maintaining the security and privacy of the data. Next, I'll move on to data archiving. Customers ask me, why do we need to archive the data? Simple reason, you need the data for your governance or business use case when it's within their life cycle use, right? But why to keep the data in your active database when the data is available to retrieve just in time? We are not pushing the data to some tape that will take you several hours or days to retrieve. With the cloud, we are making the data, archiving it data, so you can get the operational efficiency and application performance, but also making the data available just in time, whether you are looking for the single policy or single claim, or you need to retrieve the data in bulk for any litigation, audit, or compliance purposes. Also, segregating the data helps you reduce the risk in case of data breach. Key features, as I've talked to many of you over the past year, to build a solution. Archiving we have made it simplified, because in the on-prem world, it used to take months to enable the archiving, and that was a bottleneck for the customers. So we have taken the complexity of enabling archiving in the cloud. It is only a business rules that you need to set. So while we are taking the IT complexity, you still retain the flexibility to manage the business rule on what do you want to archive for each jurisdiction and line of business, and how you want to archive. Data retrieval, like I said, that is critical to get the data just in time. Whether your CSRs or adjusters are looking for individual claim or individual policy, they can get that data in real time. And we have done the comparisons and performance analysis that there is very minor difference between when you pull the data from Aurora versus the archive data. If you need the data in bulk, we have enhanced the feature to give you the data based on policy numbers, claim numbers, all the advanced search capabilities to restore the data just in time in bulk into the operational database. We have been careful to comply with the security and compliance. So like your production database, archive data complies with the GDPR, CCPA, and the security is same as your production operational database. The last, purge data. You'll be able to directly purge that data directly from the archive after its useful business or compliance lifecycle. Highlight, archiving is a service in the cloud. It's secure, configurable, and adheres to all the privacy compliance for you. Customers retain the business configurability, and you only need to manage the business rules. So we are giving you the flexibility, taking away the complexity of IT. Archiving is generally available since Dobson release for Billing Center, Policy Center, and Claim Center. You can kickstart anytime, just enable it, and you'll be able to configure the rule set. Individual and bulk restore is part of the solution. With Elysian update, we went ahead and added the advanced search capability to the archive claim center as well. So for the archive data, you can search what data you want to restore for any litigation, audits, or liability purposes. And the goal would be to search the data that you want to restore. Either you can feed that into the bulk restore and get the data, or you can download the CSV. Next, I'll move to advanced search. You might have seen the glimpse of Guidewire Enterprise Advanced Search in the keynote earlier. Advanced search is, again, a SaaS service, taking away the complexity of IT and giving you a reliable search is based on the leucine that is used by major internet technology companies across the world for the search, and enables fuzzy or free text search for you. Rapid development, this is a turnkey solution that can be enabled in days, and in a few weeks you can configure and make it running. Easy to maintain, again, through Guidewire Cloud Console, where you can deploy individually for Policy Center or Claim Center. Individually, they have separate configurations, and you can upload the bad jobs for the indexes through the user interface. The asynchronous live updates are automated using the Guidewire messaging component, and the cluster deployment helps you scale for your complexity of the volume or the complexity of indexes. Again, you can use this turnkey solution to integrate fast search, taking away all the complexity of IT, helping you set up within weeks to run the advanced search at enterprise level, improving your business user efficiency with free text for Policy Center and Claim Center, and surfacing all your data, whether it is in the production database or in the archived for Claim Center. The roadmap, we released the early access in Dobson and generally available in Elysian versions. We have a couple of customers who already used it. It's available in the single instance. Single instance is basically the single node that is typically you will use it in your dev and QA regions. And for performance and production environments, you can scale up based on your use and the perf results to multiple nodes, giving you the availability and scalability of the solution. It's ready for use if you're an Elysian. Next, we will look to optimize the performance. We are building the capability to keep the backup of your indices, so it is easy in case of disaster recovery and your upgrades, and we are making the upgrades easier. Future, we want to integrate its search experience that is easy to use and configure by the customers, and we'll continue to build on that. Blue-green deployment, again, you might have seen a glimpse of it in the keynote presentation today. The goal of blue-green deployment is to give you the edge and agility in the cloud to continuously deploy and enhance your features without the system downtimes. So key goals we had was to enable customers to deploy frequently on the cloud without compromising on the planned downtimes for the upgrades, and make maximum number of upgrades blue-green compatible. And why I'm talking compatible, we'll see in a few minutes. Also, while doing this, we automated all the manual steps. So it's all click-through buttons, reducing the human errors during a deployment. Blue-green has been available in Dobson Plus. We went through a number of iterations in Elysian and Flynn to make it more compatible and usable by our customers. We did some dry runs with early customers. We have done a couple of successful production runs, and it is ready for use. You don't need any provisioning. It's available for all customers if you are on the Dobson Plus version. Since launching in Dobson, we made incremental enhancements on the compatibility to what type of changes can be blue-green compatible, and we'll continue to enhance that. And also, we are enhancing the automation and usability of the functionality. A quick overview of how this magic of blue-green works. So blue is basically your current version of the application and server that is running. Your traffic is flowing through. We bring the upgraded application server, green version, that is V2 in the picture here, and be connected to the database. It's only in the read-only version, so all your traffic is flowing through blue right now. We run the DDL compatibility check. We compare the two WAR files. Don't worry about it if you're a business user. But basically, we do the compatibility check to see whether this updates that you have made will be compatible with the blue-green. Once it is compatible, we upgrade the database changes. This is the reason why compatibility matters. Your database is upgraded, and your application is still the older version. So there needs to be backward compatibility of your application with the database. And so we carefully look at the compatibility of what changes you have made and whether it will work with the live traffic to do the upgrade. Once the TB is upgraded, we start draining the system. All this while your traffic is live. When we finally try to transition to the green server, we put the system in read-only mode. So your system is up and running. For a few minutes, we bring it to read-only mode, so users can query the data, they can see information, they cannot write. The reason we are doing this is to avoid any conflicts by both blue and green trying to update the system. Then we remove the blue server, and your traffic is moving through green. It's still in read-only mode, and then finally you are ready, and you can take away the current version, and your server is up and running on the green. That is your latest update. The read-only mode I mentioned is only for a few minutes. In our experience, it has been anywhere between 2 to 4 minutes. So just to give you the highlight, it's a carefully orchestrated step taking care of avoiding any data conflicts and data collisions in the system that comes with both servers running in parallel and traffic being live. We're trying to support majority of the configurations. Putting the green server in the read-only mode helps us with the coexistence of both clusters during the transition time. There's minimal downtime where all the backend jobs, your batch processes are shut down, and it auto starts, at least for the Guidewire Cloud. And there's zero downtime for your REST and SOAP API for read-only calls, and we put on hold the write calls for the few minutes while doing the transition. Finally, the roadmap. We released generally available version in Dobson Plus. We have been working with customers, doing several dry runs and production runs. Over the past 2 releases in Elysian and Flynn, we upgraded, enhanced both the usability, automation, and the compatibility. I'm expecting with the Flynn release, about 40 to 50% of your upgrades will be blue-green compatible, but let's see, I'm looking for the more feedbacks, how it actually works. Next, in the garnish and short-term releases, we are looking to both increase the compatibility and further automate it. Right now it is clickable, but there are several steps. We want to make it auto-deployment. So short-term goal will be to minimize those steps as far possible, and the future is to make it a one-click, single deployment, taking all the steps out of the way and make it easier for you to deploy. In the garnish, next 6 to 8 months' time, marginally I'll be improving the usability interface and the compatibility, but main focus is to do some research and discover how it will fit in the ecosystem with customers outside of Guidewire, how it fits with the cross applications and our digital platforms, how can we do the cross-app notifications. And the future will be totally seamless integration. Next, I'll hand it over to Piotr.
Thank you, Avinash. So, as Chris already introduced me, I'm going to quickly recap on that. So, hello everyone. My name is Piotr Flasiński, and I'm a group product manager working on Guidewire Cloud Console, our self-service CI/CD toolbox. Today, I would like to mention our newest Guidewire Cloud Platform capability, a self-service for InsuranceSuite application production deployments. You may have seen it on the keynote today as I demoed the feature live. As you know the best, insurers strive for the efficiency and flexibility of managing, developing, building, and deploying software they use in a self-service manner. This obviously includes Guidewire products like InsuranceSuite applications, and this is already possible for Guidewire Cloud Platform non-production environments via Guidewire Cloud Console, known as GCC. But now, as probably some of already know, as I just mentioned the keynote, we are kicking off our trial program enabling self-serve production deployments for InsuranceSuite applications. So, the goal of the trial program is to both expose the self-service features in Guidewire Cloud Console, allowing our first cloud customers to deploy to production at their convenience, but also to collect feedback from these customers on the features we need to improve or add. We also want to collect feedback and to understand the feedback regarding our support model. Our newest and most important goal is to enable all the InsuranceSuite cloud customers with the But to get there, we have to provide a couple of enhancements to our current user experience. These enhancements include different safeguards that we need to deliver and process automation. But our roadmap is much more ambitious. So I would like to briefly describe it in the perspective of 3 time frames. Now relates to features we have already delivered, so the capabilities available in our trial program. Some of them are available in non-production environments, as I said. For example, the deployment history you saw today on the keynote, or database backup scheduling feature. Next relates to features we want to deliver until the end of our next key resort release timeframe, which is Garmisch. And these include different, as I said, safeguards for production deployments and process enhancements. For example, a rollback automation. During this period, we also want to focus on addressing the highest priority gaps that may be discovered during the trial program for the self-serve production deployments. And last but not least, future relates to capabilities that we want to deliver after Garmisch and beyond. These include, for instance, features allowing for self-serve X-engaged applications deployments and various production management related improvements. For example, maintenance page during the downtime or vanity domain support. We are always open to any questions or feedback you might have. We'll have some time, as Chris said, at the end for Q&A, and there is a live Q&A in the Connections, Guidewire Connections app. Thank you, and I'm gonna let Prem continue. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter. Hello, everyone. I am Prem Bellamkonda, and I'm the product manager for observability at Guidewire. So today I'm going to talk about the GWCP, the observability for GWCP apps, and also the roadmap for the observability features. So let's look at the key flow for observability. If you look at any application or any product to be observable, we need to have we need to be able to collect the right metrics for your applications, and we need to be able to monitor your applications through metrics, and we should also be able to debug or troubleshoot your applications using tracing functionality, and we should also be able to alert for any incidents that happens on your applications. So if you look at a real-time scenario, my application is running slow and I don't know what's happening with my application, where to go and look and debug into my application. So first thing that I would do is, like, me as an ops engineer, I would be getting an alert on my PagerDuty saying that the performance for an application is slow, and I should be having a dashboard for me to go and monitor and identify where the problem is in my application. And once I do that, I still would not be able to know what exactly is happening with my application. I need to have more details. So I can go to the logs to get more details about the event or the incident. However, logs would still not be able to give you the exact function in your code and tell me, like, which function the code is responsible for the spike in the performance. So that is when I can go to traces or APM, and then get the exact function in my code that is responsible for the spike in the performance. So this is a typical observability flow, and we want to provide the required toolset for your applications to be observable. And we have chosen Datadog as observability tool, and all the required functionalities for the observability will be available to our customers on the Datadog. So Datadog is right now GA, and we are rolling this out to all our customers, where we have provisioned a sub-account on Datadog, and we have enabled access to the logs on the Datadog, where customers can access the logs, query the logs, filter the logs, and we have also enabled the standard out-of-the-box dashboards for designated functions. So these are the features that are currently available, and we also plan to enable additional functionalities in a phased approach. So we will also be enabling functionalities like allowing our customers to create their own dashboards, own alerts, own metrics, and we also will be enabling the tracing functionality for the applications in a phased approach. Let's look at all the features that will be available in different environments. So we have enabled access to the logs in all the environments. You will be able to access the logs for 15 days in the NP environments and 30 days in the production environments. And we have also enabled the log archiving feature. If the customers wants to access the logs older than 30 days in the prod, or if they want to access the logs older than 15 days in the NP, they can create a support ticket and work with us where we'll be able to provision the logs older than 30 days or 15 days depending on the environment. And we have also enabled functionalities like out-of-the-box dashboards, metrics on all the environments. We will be enabling the custom dashboard feature and the custom alerts feature on all the environments. For APM, we will be enabling this on the uplifted environments, which will be like production, pre-prod, and the performance environments. And this will not be available in the NP environments. If you look at the roadmap for all the key features that I just explained, in the section for the now is what we currently have. We have access to the logs and we have access to the dashboards for the designated functions. In the section for the next, these are the features that will be available in the next 6 months timeline. So we will be enabling the features for the customers to create their own dashboards, alerts, and metrics, and we will also be enabling the APM or application performance management feature in Q1 of 2023. And in the section for the future, you see the features that will be available from 6 months to 1 year timeline. And this is where we'll be enabling functionalities for integrations with Splunk, ServiceNow, Jira, and other integrations that Datadog currently has. And we're also planning to allow our customers to access the archive logs directly, where they don't have to reach out to our support teams if they want to look for any logs that are older than 30 days or 15 days depending on the environment. They will be able to access the logs within their Datadog sub account. So these are the features that I have for observability for the next 1 year. So with that, we can head to the Q&A section. And any questions you have on any topics presented today, we can take them up.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with some of the questions that came in on the app. And while some of those are still coming in, we will also take questions from the floor. We would just ask that you wait, you raise your hand and wait for a microphone, and that you stand up and express your question. We appreciate that. So my first question I have for Avinash, and this is related to data masking. Now that Guidewire is providing data masking capabilities, do I need an uplifted environment anymore, or should I just do the masking in an NPE? And for those not familiar, an uplifted environment is basically a replica of a production environment, typically used for troubleshooting problems.
Yeah, no, so with the data masking, you don't need uplifted environment. Your masked data can be restored into any standard NP environments.
Excellent. So when will data masking be available, Avinash? Is it
early access is available now. We have provision to 1 early customer. In the next couple of months, we are looking to onboard 4 or 5 more customers, and based on the feedback, trying to see how it scales. And by garbage time, that is April 2023, it will be generally available, or at least we are hoping so.
Got it. Okay, a question for Piotr. When should we expect to see digital automatic deployments on non-production environments and self-service for production deployment?
Perfect question. So currently we're working on embedding digital applications deployments in GCC for non-production environments, and this should be available in the next couple of months. We are aiming to deliver it until the end of the current release timeframe, which is Garmisch. The self-service production deployments for Xengage or digital applications require from us some additional enhancements that we need to provide, and this is going to be available in the next time frame of 6 months, so a couple of months after we delivered the support for non-production environments.
Okay, great. Another data masking question for Avinash. Does data masking to a non-production environment do anything to ensure consistency with other integrated apps within the enterprise that need the same data for testing?
We do. So for the Guidewire Cloud, we try to maintain the integrity across InsuranceSuite application. There are a couple of options with which we are trying to achieve the integrity outside of Guidewire Cloud. This was just a preview session. We do have a deep dive demo tomorrow afternoon, so make sure to attend that. We will be doing a demonstration of the data masking.
Okay, great. A question for Prem. Is the Datadog license included, or does that need to be licensed or charged separately?
No, at the moment, Datadog will be provisioned out of the box for our customers. Right now, all the features that we enable will be available to them at no extra cost. However, as we're enabling additional features like APM, other integrations with Datadog, we will also look at a cost framework to see how we can build the cost framework. But we don't have the framework ready yet, but as of now, all the features that are available on Datadog, they're all out of the box, and it comes at no extra cost.
And here's another related one. Prem says, we run a centralized log management system for compliance reasons. How and when can they get audit trail type logs out to Splunk for other standard logging interfaces?
Right. So we are looking at integration with Splunk. I can't give you a timeline yet, but I would say it would be somewhere around Q3 or Q4 of next year is when we are tentatively looking at. But as I mentioned earlier, we're looking at additional integrations with Datadog, and Splunk is one among them.
All right, great. Avinash, on the topic of blue-green, a couple questions. So one, when a blue-green upgrade is in process and read-only mode is presented to the users, what does that look like?
So currently, if the read-only mode is on, if in the API, if somebody tries to write, you will get 503 error. In the Garmisch release, we'll try to manage their messaging and notifications better for you. So any read-only access, user will be able to access, but write won't be able to do for that few minutes of duration when we are putting the write on hold.
Okay, great. A question related to archiving. What sort of latency can you expect for the end user when retrieving archived data? Answer would depend based on whether it is single or bulk restore and how big of the data we are trying to restore, plus what version we are trying to restore from, right? In general, we have seen near real time for the individual data. You won't see the difference when you are restoring from Aurora versus the archive data. For bulk, it will be few minutes depending on the size of the data, but we have not seen delays that would be concerning. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and take a pause and do some of the questions that we have from the audience. Do we have anyone that had a question they wanted to share? It has a microphone from one of our runners.
Sure. Would blue-green deployments and that observability tool available for digital experience platforms too?
Would they be available for what?
For the digital experience platforms, it's customer engage and producer engage.
So for observability, right now the observability capabilities are available for GWCP platform. So any application that is running on GWCP, you will be able to leverage the observability functionalities.
Fair enough. And for blue-green deployments, let's say for the digital experience platforms, it's not bound by any data compatibility. So does it mean that it can be deployed through blue-green?
So there are two aspects, right? Currently, the blue-green is supported for InsuranceSuite. The APIs are working, so your digital experience will be working. As is, the way InsuranceSuite is supposed to work, it's accessing the same data. Second aspect is, can we deploy the digital itself with the blue-green. That's one of the research topics we will evaluate in the next 6 months on how we can build the synergies and what we can do for the integrated experience with the digital and insurance suite together.
On the other hand, the X-Engage deployments are like almost no downtime already, right? Because the static content is available until the new one is available. So it's just a switch.
Thank you.
Another question?
This question might not be for this team, but it's a question that I have about all these wonderful things that we've seen today. And I know that Guidewire is big on Guidewire education and being certified and being able, you can't work on a Guidewire project if you don't know how to write a story. You can't test Guidewire if you're not an analyst. So from everything I've seen here, is there an education path that's coming to get people trained, to get people certified? Because I don't want just any Mickey guy coming along and pushing buttons or thinking they know what they do. I want an education plan that says these are the things you need to know how to do, and we're certified that you know how to do these things going forward. I'm not talking about looking up a log in Datadog, but I'm talking about blue-green deployments, full deployments, database backups, those kinds of things. Is there an education plan coming to go with this?
Right, a great question. We do have some introductory education material other than the product documentation itself. We realize there are gaps. We have been moving very fast with the execution and bringing new capabilities. It takes time. So I didn't mention it explicitly in the roadmap, but yes, that is my next focus, whether it is blue-green, advanced search, or archiving. Well, not only we want to enhance those education content, but we want to see where learning batches will be more useful. So whether it is insurer directly who are working on it, or the new SI partners that come to do the deployments or build the new capabilities, whether they have the skill or not. So we'll make sure in the future that we have those contents, blogs, all the collaterals available for you. And I'm looking for the feedback. If you see gap, reach out to me or the product managers, and we will see how we can solve it in the short term.
Yeah, and I guess I would add for Guidewire Cloud Console and several of the features, there are education tracks for those. And the team here and the education team have been putting quite a bit of effort into those. A lot of them are still introductory, and we continue to iterate on those and make those more advanced. But we're also looking at opportunities to make that education material, I think, more accessible and available to folks. We have a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into their certifications and everything, and we want to make it, easy to get the incremental coursework associated with the new features. So we're looking at opportunities for that. Other questions in the room?
Yes,
Please.
hi. We're currently on PC9, and we've had one situation where we needed to do a rollback on the build. Worst case nightmare scenario, what happens in a blue-green deployment if you need to go backwards? Is that even possible?
Yes, rollback
DB
is
backup.
available. Rollback gets tricky a little bit because you have live traffic running. But short answer, yes, you can do the rollback till the very end. Whether you want to do the DB rollback as well, or just you want to let it continue run on the Blue's current application server.
If the blue-green is completed and you want to roll back after some time, my team is going to be working on a feature with a rollback with a downtime, allowing you to move back your database and builds back in the time.
Yeah. And to add to that, I'm also looking for feedback on, we are embarking on a journey of continuous integration, continuous deployments. Should we think about the rollback, or should we have a fix forward approach? And that will give us much more flexibility on what type of changes and how frequently, how rapidly we can move. That's something I'll be talking to many of you folks in the coming months to understand, get the feedback as we move forward and enhance the capabilities of the blue-green.
Okay, did we have someone identified for a final question already?
We have one raised hand here.
We have one here. If you just want to, this will be our last one. You can just call it out.
Did I hear you correctly that you can extract a subset of claims or a subset of policies and mask them and put them into a test environment?
So the question is, can you do the subsetting of data for the data masking purposes? And answer is not right now. Right now we are moving the whole production data, but that is our vision. We don't want to move the complete production data. In most scenarios, user doesn't want the whole production data. So we will be looking at and evaluating how we can do the subsetting in the future.
Any possibility to port that to self-managed someday?
Yeah, the short answer is no, we won't be introducing our data masking for self-managed. You can get your own tools to do self-managed. All right, I know we're out of time, so I really appreciate everybody attending today and asking all the great questions. So feel free to follow up with folks in follow-up sessions.
Thank you, everyone.